Rethinking NIMBYism project started because I suppose it was an issue that was coming up with our member groups, both Rural Community Networks member groups and Community Places members and the wider public. But we sort of saw it as being a much more multi-layered process and a much more multi-layered concept, that people who were objecting were doing so for a reason. So we're both interested in the issue. The opportunity then came up from Building Change Trust through their civic activism programme to look at an issue of public debate in Northern Ireland and use a methodology to sort of try and explore that with local communities, to try and engage people in those important civic debates.
Building Change Trust's general role is promoting more creativity, innovation in the community and voluntary sector in Northern Ireland. So we work across various themes. So this project falls under a piece of work called the Civic Activism Programme. So Rural Community Network and Community Places have been working together on this project, and it's been really great today to see some of the outcomes of that work. They've been engaging with 3 communities who are a mixture of pro and very broadly anti-wind energy developments in their particular area. So it's really about trying to detoxify that whole debate and to try to respect the different views that are there, not label people, as the project title suggests. People sometimes get pejoratively titled NIMBYs, and so it's really thinking about trying to work through, well, if people are objecting to things, why is that? And let's listen to them, and let's try and address some of those concerns.
My name's Jane Burnside, and I'm from Kells Vocal in Kells, and we're a group that are objecting to the industrialisation of the countryside. The particular objection we have at the moment is a 250-acre solar power station, which is in open, undulating countryside in our area. It'll affect about 60 households, and some people's houses will actually be completely surrounded by the development. So it's a pretty crude and ugly development, and we feel that a facility of this size is just totally out of scale with the landscape of Northern Ireland.
So we were interested in this issue of NIMBYism and how we could sort of explore that in rural communities in Northern Ireland. And while we were thinking in the development phase of the project, we became aware of Professor Patrick Devine Wright.
I'm really interested in the details of each of your cases as well. Each one of them, I think, is fascinating and raises lots of issues that are very pertinent, and there's very little in here that I would see as being unique or that I haven't come across before. NIMBYism was a way of understanding renewable energy conflicts, but it's also a way of maybe pejoratively labelling the people who do the objecting. And a lot of my research has been challenging that mindset, that these are troublemakers who should be ignored, rather than these are people who actually should be listened to and they've got something useful and interesting to say.
Well, the PCP technique, we had the opportunity to use it as a result of the Building Change Trust Civic Activism project. It stands for Public Conversations Project Dialogue Technique. It's often used to explore quite divisive or contentious issues. So we thought, well, the citing of renewable energy technologies, this is a real ideal opportunity to use the technique to really explore some of the complexities involved in that issue. It's quite a structured process, and it enables people to really actively listen, to speak, and also to reflect on the issues. And crucially, it isn't about trying to persuade people that your opinion is better or more correct than others, but it's about trying to get that broader picture of the complexity of some of these issues. So I have to say I've found it a really useful method. Although it's the first time we've used it, I'm sure we'll be using it again.
Yes, we were asked, along with 2 other neighbouring groups, to meet together, Gurtnahi and Burnfit, and Ford Glen, or the 3 groups, and we had 2 meetings, one in the other groups and one in our area, and it was really to discuss how we as individuals felt the whole process had been, and how we'd benefited as a community. And then as time went on, we've met with other groups, one from the Sperrins, and today then was a coming together with the meeting people from the solar farm up at Kells as well. At the end of the year, one farm was approved anyhow, and we thought if there's anything to be gained here, we'll have our share of it. The 3 community groups locally all benefit quite a bit, something in the region of £10,000 per year, which has been good and helped our community association.
These are issues that are affecting people's lives. These are going to have massive impact on them, and it's changing the structure of everything that we have either been brought up with or we have chosen to be part of So you've got something coming into the area that's going to make it alien, and it's massive. So it's really, really important that our voices be heard.
So we've been providing some support to the Rural Community Network and to Community Places on this project, helping them to think about the methodology, the technique for participation that they're using in this particular project, and giving them some practical support about how to make that work in practice. You know, folk who are having to live with a renewable energy development like a wind farm or a solar farm, you know, not only are those communities going to be living with that infrastructure for many years to come, but they can also actually, contrary to the way some people might view local communities, they can contribute to making that development process much more productive, much better. They'll have ideas about where infrastructure can best be placed. The sort of conversation has a much richer input of different voices. They're the people who are living in that area, so they are the main stakeholder, if you like, in this development.
It's not about everybody ultimately agreeing a shared position. That's not really a realistic proposition. But at least, you know, as it was said in the workshop today, people, even if people don't get the outcome that they wanted in terms of what actually happens in their community, people are very often willing to accept that if they have been involved and their voices have been heard in the process. So that's really a key outcome in the particular communities. And then I think in the broader picture is to kind of use this as an example of how things can be done better.
But for me, what the main outcomes for this has been the learning around the whole idea of NIMBYism and the depth of feeling within communities around this issue. And I suppose the compromises that communities are going to have to make, are currently making, and will have to make increasingly in the future around climate change, around how we adapt to climate change, around renewable energy, around how we produce energy, food into the future, how that's going to change our landscape, change the way we live. So lots, for me anyway, lots of questions there about how that impacts in rural communities, and what how rural communities then need to think about their place in the next 50 to 100 years, so that their children and their grandchildren can continue to live in those communities. And that's a key thing for Rural Community Network, because we are about sustainable rural communities. I mean, that's what we want to see in the future.